I'm using this scrap piece of wood that I actually picked up from Home Depot. It's from a previous project. This piece actually measures 37 by 5.5 inches. So first I'm just using Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, and I'm just covering the entirety of this piece of wood. Just make sure you're covering the front, top, bottom, sides, and I even painted the back just in case I want to reuse this piece of wood. This only took one coat. You want to just allow everything to completely dry before moving on. And then just to give this a more weathered look, you could go around the edges with your sanding block and just lightly sand all throughout that piece of wood. And before you paint over that, just make sure you wipe that dust right off. I made these vinyl stencils off of my Cricut machine. I just have HME, and then at the bottom it says Sweet Home. So I'm just placing the vinyl down, taking off that transfer tape, making sure that the vinyl sticks to the wood carefully and slowly. Take that transfer tape off, and then I'm just using a cut up sponge that I get from Dollar Tree. This Anita's acrylic paint in the color terracotta. You could find that at Hobby Lobby, and I just began dabbing that on the bottom section of this stencil. Go ahead and peel that off before it dries, and then look at how adorable that is. Go ahead and let that dry. And then for the H, M, and the E, I'm just using some Anita's acrylic paint in just plain white. So very important, if you make your stencils off your Cricut at home, you want to make sure that you have a very small amount of acrylic paint on, and you are dabbing in very light dabbing motions. That'll prevent you from getting any kind of bleeding. And then I'm just using some jute string, just hot gluing it on the side of the sign, just wrapping it around about 10 to 12 times, but that is completely up to you on how many times you want to wrap it. Once I have the end piece, I just hot glued it. I did make a buffalo check fluffy bow. I'm just applying a generous amount of hot glue, applying that to the top of the sign. And then I had this wooden pumpkin cutout that came from a door hanger from Dollar Tree. I didn't really like the glossy finish of it, so I am going over it with Waverly chalk paint in the color pumpkin. This did end up taking about 3 coats. You want to just allow the first 2 coats to dry, and then just allow everything to completely dry after that. And then with some brown acrylic paint, it doesn't matter what it is, I'm just using that to color in the stem of the pumpkin. And then with some Waverly antique wax and my finger, I'm just applying the antique wax all throughout the pumpkin just to kind of give it a nice weathered look. And then with some more brown acrylic paint, I did just paint the grooves of the pumpkin. Very light brush strokes when doing this. If you want, once it's dry, go ahead and sand it if some of the pieces are too dark. And then with Waverly chalk paint in the color moss, I did just create a little swivelly vine. Allow that to dry, and then I'm using some of this Fix All adhesive glue you could get from Dollar Tree, applying that onto the back of the pumpkin along with some hot glue, and then placing that right in between the H and the M in replacement for the O in home. And there you go, guys. And if you decide to leave this project outside, I highly recommend picking up some of this spray from Home Depot. Thank you guys so much. I hope this inspired you to create your own. If it did, please be sure to sprinkle the love. Thank you again, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.